Welcome back to Let's Play Xenogears. We are still in the past. This is Lacan here, not Faye. This was after the elders of Shivat sacrificed them, or at least tried to, and Sophia died trying to defend them, giving them a chance to escape. Now Lacan's a broken man. He's all kind of messed up. He looks in there and sees Elly, or Sophia to be a little more specific, in the prison in Shivat. Unfortunately, that's not actually Elly. That's Myang. She's fucking with him. She was the one that they gave up. Now you may be wondering why Myang is in the prison of Shivat. Now, if you remember in the last episode when Queen Zephyr was talking about what had happened 500 years earlier during the war between Shivat and Solaris. It was a war. Shivat was trying to gain independence, but it eventually turned into a kind of power play. The Shivat elders wanted power, and they were willing to sell out their rebels to Solaris in exchange for basically half the planet. And in order to broker that peace deal with Solaris, they basically gave them the rebel army, which consisted of guys like Lacan, Carillion, Ronnie, Queen Zephyr, Sophia, all of those people, because they were afraid of Sophia's influence in Nisan. Now, the Gazel Ministry in Solaris had basically the same kind of idea in their own government. Myang was not quite on the same page that they were, and they wanted to eliminate her in order to get rid of her as a threat to their power. So, basically, Shivat gave over the rebels and Sophia, their biggest internal threat, and Solaris gave over Myang, the same thing for the Gazel Ministry. Yes, this is how Lacan became Graf. How somebody who was basically Fae, somebody who was Fae, turned into such a psychotic freak. And, of course, this has happened before. I mean, Lacan to Graf, Fae to Id, you know, it's all messed up. Oh, it's Dan. Haven't seen him in a while. Even Dan has pity for him. Now you'll remember that Dan hated Faye. He hated them so much because Dan had figured that Faye killed his sister. Killed his sister way back in the beginning of the game. That was a long time ago now, but it's still big in Dan's mind. Faye has moved on. He's had bigger things he needs to deal with. But remember that Dan always knew that Faye wasn't truly responsible. He just needed somebody to blame. Now, strangely enough, as it turns out, Faye was responsible, or at least Id was. But since Id and Faye are the same person, yeah, it was Faye. Faye killed her. But that's something completely different. That can't be good. Apparently Han Soloing him wasn't good enough to keep Id contained. Faye is losing control. It used to be that Faye could take back control of his body at any time. He just had to be willing to do it. Not true anymore. It has complete control. Okay, and we're going to take control of the game again to a certain capacity. Now, you could have opened the menu, or I could have opened the menu and switched characters around, and there's going to be some combat coming up. But I'm going to stick with the standard members. Doc, Bart, and Billy. Now you notice they're Omni-Gears. They're no longer using their Omni-Gears. Slytad's going back to using the Heimdall. Bart's using Brigadier, and Billy's using the old version of Renzo. See, all those memories that Faye's been getting the entire game of all these previous events, his past lives, all that was being shown to him intentionally by Id. It shows to him to keep him occupied, keep him in despair, that way Id has control. And that was how Id managed to gain control of Faye now. Unfortunately for our Faye, Id has taken complete control and is not relinquishing anytime soon. Now they are descending into the cave where the Zohar modifier is, which is essentially a power source. Powers everything in the game, from ether powers to gears to the Deus system. So it's basically everything is being controlled by Zohar. Now what do they find when they get in there? They find this gear. Now that is Veltal. Its Faye is inside of it, or it is inside of it at the moment. But after having contact with the Zohar modifier, or the existence as Faye had called it, or it had called it, it is transformed, and it has become much more powerful than it was before. There it is. That's the Zohar modifier, the engine that powers everything. And down comes it in his brand new transformed gear. And we're gonna have to fight him. Now this, despite your enemy and despite the gear that he's using, is not a terribly difficult fight. In fact, I'm actually going to make this a lot harder on myself and try just to get to level infinity and show you all those attacks and stuff. Even though it's kind of an easy fight. And as a result of that, he goes and deals quite a bit more damage. No, it is only going to have 3 separate attacks. This one where he throws himself at your characters, which is the one he's going to do most of the time. Another one where he charges through an enemy like 3 or 4 times, which is actually weaker. And a third attack where he kind of uses telekinesis to toss your gear around, and that does actually a large amount of damage. If he were just to do that attack all the time, he would tear you to pieces. That was the second attack I mentioned. Yes, it's true. Wise Man is Faye's father, and that's why he's been following him around. He wears a mask to keep himself hidden. Now that brings up an interesting little bit of a point. Wise Man, or Khan Wong as his actual name is, knows how big of a threat it is. He knows what kind of thing he's going to do, and he knows he's going to awaken Deus as a weapon in an attempt to destroy the entire world, because it is just full of hate. But that brings up the question, can Wise Man, being its father, actually kill him? Well, we're going to have to see. Now, I would love to continue with this episode, but I don't think I can. It's getting too long, so come back for the next episode and see the conclusion of this whole mess we're in.